Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good Shabbos. I hope you're having a very good summer. We're going to be talking about our Torah portion, the Et Hanan, which means I pleaded with God. More on that in a moment. But we are reading from the book of Deuteronomy. We just started the book of Deuteronomy. And Deuteronomy, in and of itself as a name, means the second giving of the Ten Commandments. And Devarim, in Hebrew, the words, because for 34 chapters, Moses has been giving the longest sermon in history, preparing the Jewish people for entering the Promised Land and offering his vision. So once again, in this portion, Ve'et Hanan, more than I pleaded with God, it means I got myself to plead. Meaning before you can plead or before you can pray, for example, you need to prepare yourself for prayer. You have to ask yourself, am I worthy of prayer? Can I pray? How will I pray? And most importantly, will my prayer come from my heart? This is the portion that has the Shema, the Ve'ahavta, and it has the Ten Commandments. As a visual, I thought I would show you this original Torah mantle. This is the first Temple Emmanuel Torah mantle back to the 1950s. And you see it has an image of the Ten Commandments. And it's very telling because when we get to the commandment on Shabbat, this has Zachor, which means remember. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. So this comes from the book of Exodus. But Shamor is in the book of Deuteronomy. Observe, keep the Sabbath day in order to make it holy. And they're very different. I mean, everything about these two sets of commandments are very different. The one in Exodus, the one in Deuteronomy, but especially when you get to Shabbat. In fact, the one in Exodus, it says, is given at Mount Sinai. You may know that. But the one in Deuteronomy said these words were given at Mount Horeb. And when we get to the two commandments on Shabbat, well, one may be applying to God, who created for 6 days and then rested on the seventh. And the other is our obligation to rest, to take a break, for time out. And I would say we need to do that more than ever. We need to claim and reclaim Shabbat. We're just on 24/7 all the time. There's no downtime. And Judaism gives us a weekly gift, whether it be a few hours or 24 hours. It's a time to say, I'm going to put the cell phone away. I'm going to turn off the computer. I'm going to spend time with my family. I'm going to read. I'm going to walk. I'm going to reflect. We're going to eat, of course. And whatever it is, come to synagogue, of course. You will see that that amount of time truly refreshes and rejuvenates you. So the Ten Commandments, the 10 C's, are very, very important. However, they're in the context of 613 mitzvot, which are, one could say, equally important. And that is why the Ten Commandments are not part of our daily liturgy. You would think they would be. The heart of the Torah, the Ten Commandments. No, because it was felt that that would somehow misguide us, that the other commandments are of lesser importance. They are important when we read them in the Torah. In front of a congregation, we all rise. Now back to Shabbat. Because we have two commandments of Shabbat, Zachor v'Shamor, therefore we have the two Shabbat candles. That's why we have two candles. One is the candle for remembering, and one is the candle for observing. We're very familiar with the commandments, but the idea is not just to follow them, as people say, I follow them. It's really to live by them. So, two commandments, I would say, that seem to be missing are the one for tzedakah, especially of the 10. I would call this 11 and 12. Tzedakah, righteousness. doing the right thing. And this past week, a whole group of us, 30-some people, made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We had 40 loaves of bread, magical number 40, but it just turned out that way, and made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sandwiches so that those in one of our shelters in Camden could have a meal, and they depend on that. And we had great camaraderie in doing this, but the knowledge that this one little act, this one little mitzvah, really is an act of life. So tzedakah, doing the right thing, in so many ways, is what Judaism is all about. And education is number 12. It's all about learning, lifelong learning. You're never too old to learn. You can come Saturday morning and hear about this amazing Torah portion. You can just walk in 9:15. It's not necessary that you didn't attend others. Join us. You will see how engaging it can be. And the true wisdom comes from those who are at Torah study and sharing their own life stories, which we do. Friday night, middle of the summer, we're going to be outside, weather permitting, or in this chapel, weather permitting, and services are at 7:30. We're going to be honoring those with an anniversary in this month of August. It's going to be very joyous, very musical, and a great way to conclude this week and prepare for the next week. And Shabbat Shalom. I'll just leave you with one thing. This is our little baby Torah that we use for Tat Shabbat. And it also has, as I noticed, it has the remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. So we know what we've got to do. Shabbat Shalom.